My next interviewee is an undergraduate here in Sweden. So started when she had just come home, and she sits down at her home desk, which to me looked slightly chaotic, but each class had its own binder, and the classes are organized by the binder, and the corresponding books follow those binders. She has a calendar on the wall for reference, and the assignments for each class have been listed in the due dates and highlighted according to that class's color code. So while that may seem chaotic to me, it looked like she had everything kind of all figured out under her codes. So she grabs the binder and book for the class with the assignment due, and we're just focusing on a marketing assignment. She pulls out her notebook for that class, opens her laptop, opens her browser, which she's now using Google Chrome. She clicks her bookmarked item to log into her email, which bookmarking, again, as I said in the past, is just a much simpler way to get to things. She opens another tab and clicks another bookmark to her Blackboard webpage to log in. And Blackboard is where all of her classes' information is kept, whether they're online or in class. This is where they can reference everything, and it's not just reliant on the one syllabus on paper. But I did ask her if all instructors use this, and she said that no, not all of her classes, not all instructors use this for class assignments, but instructors do have to post grades on Blackboard. So they have to use it at some point. They're just not all using it for facilitating assignments and submitting assignments. So she finds the syllabus for the class in her binder. Then she looks to the wall to find the color-coordinated assignment that is due, cross-references it with her syllabus. And I asked why she didn't include this detailed calendar in all her binders so that she had this and could note it no matter what. And she noted that that was actually a good idea, and moving forward she'll keep a copy of it and do that in her binders. So then she had to go into her Blackboard homepage, which lists all of her classes. She had to find her class and click that link. So she went to the class's homepage. Then from there, she went to the assignments page, and she clicked on the assignment. The assignment lists all of the readings necessary. So she takes out her notebook, and then she writes down all the readings that are required with boxes next to them to check them off. And I asked, why they don't just, reference it online and why they feel like they have to write it down. And she said that she doesn't like to use her laptop for this because there's a feeling of satisfaction of checking something off a list when she completes it. The assignment also calls for a PowerPoint. So she goes back to her laptop, opens a Word document, and then also opens PowerPoint. She copy and pastes the requirements for the PowerPoint in a Word document, just so she can have all of these things that there to reference. And then she goes to open her book to the first reading, and as she's reading through, she's taking notes in her notebook. And I asked, just why she doesn't take notes on her computer or, underline them in the book. And she said, again, this is similar to the last one. They prefer to write them out since she felt like it would really help her remember everything that she was doing. And when she writes it down, it was a form of a memorization for her. And then as she's completing the reading, she's checking them off the list in her notebook. She just keeps referencing back to that as soon as she finishes the readings. When they're unsure of something, so when she's unsure of something from, the book, she'll reference back to her notes from class that are in her binder and then cross-reference that with the book just to make sure that she's understanding correctly. And we'll make a little side note with an asterisk next to something that she had a question on it. And then a sound of an email came through and it distracts her. So then she stops, goes back to her laptop, and I asked her why she got distracted by the email, and she was like, well, I'm just curious, and I've been reading and taking notes, and I need a little break anyways. So she checks her email, cleans up her inbox, and then finally she returns to reading and taking notes. And she goes through this process of reading, writing down little notes, looking at the headings and then the subheadings mostly, and then just picking out little important details within. So it's more of a speed read than anything. And And then she has her readings completed. So then she looks back at her notes that she had just taken from the readings, and then her notes from class, and cross-checks with everything just to make sure that she's, has everything gathered. And then she switches over to the Word doc to see the requirements needed. And she starts answering the questions based on the knowledge from class and her readings. When she gets stumped, she refers back to her reading notes, her class notes. If she's further stumped, she starts flipping back through the book looking for answers. But usually, she said that she never usually has an issue with that because between the class notes and her notes, they cover it all. Once she has the question answered, she switches over to the PowerPoint, and then she copies and pastes the responses that she had done in the Word doc over to her PowerPoint and does one response for each slide. Then she goes through and breaks things out into bullet points, which is done on each slide. And then she notices that some bullet points can be joined together with others since they're short and share a similar message, so she does that. And then the bullet points are whittled down to more bare minimum text. And when I asked why she did this, she said less text is a better PowerPoint presentation, and which allows for more discussion and will allow for her to create more of a group discussion in class versus having it just be people reading off of a slide. Then she feels when she's satisfied with the slides, she goes into her themes. And to find an appropriate theme for the marketing class, has a little jazz to it, has fun little styles to it, and she chooses the style of her PowerPoint. She goes through the PowerPoint to adjust each slide so the formatting is cohesive and clean, very important in marketing. She creates her title page, then she creates a references page. She saves her PowerPoint to her documents for the class within a certain subfolder for the class, and then she switches back over to Blackboard